it's funny, one of the things I wanted to do when I was writing the book was I didn't want... There's quite a lot of body and there's quite a lot of gore, I guess, straight up, you know, and it's there at the beginning. It fades off as the book goes on because, in a sense, what the book's actually about is a kind of psychological journey, and it's about, you know, in a sense it's a horror novel, but it's a horror novel where there's a lot more implied than what you actually see. There's that opening sequence where you're actually watching them chopping up the bodies, but there's not actually a lot of that stuff further in if you see it. But when I was writing the book, I mean, I think with any book, to write any book well, you've got to kind of be in it in a really intense kind of way. You've got to believe the material, you've got to kind of live it. And when you're really in a book, I mean, you dream the thing, you talk it, you think it, it's kind of there. You wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with it in your head. And with this book, I mean, the things that happen in the middle of the book are really not good things, and they were not good things to be living with, they were not good people to be living with for a long period of time. And I found that a very disturbing process. I mean, I think I found it a very disturbing book to write. But I think also that that's there in the writing, it's there in the textures of the book. I mean, it's in a sense, it's a book which is both very, I mean, there's a lot of bad things happen in it, but it's also a very personal book, and it's, you know, that narrator is someone that I hope that you kind of sympathise with and understand right up to the point where he starts doing the things that he does in the middle of the book. I mean, because I wanted to write a book where you read about someone who finds themselves moving along a path where they get to the point where they can start killing someone in order to sell their body, and you don't actually lose sympathy with them. You continue to care about them, you continue to believe in them, and you, I guess, get a sense of how it is someone like you or me could end up there. I wanted to write a book where, in a sense, I chucked away, because I'd written 2 books already, and I wanted to chuck away everything I'd learned. I wanted to write a book which, in a sense, I didn't do any of the things that I knew I could do, you know, and there's a series of things I know I can do, you know, or I knew I could do. And I wanted to throw all of them away and do something completely different. But when I wrote the first draft, in fact, it didn't even have any chronological structure, so it was kind of just pieces laid next to each other. And that didn't actually work. But what I found, in a sense, when I was writing it, was I wanted to strip everything away. I wanted, in a sense, to pare the book right back, so you only had the really crucial moments, and what you actually get once you start doing that is a sense of this descent into something, you know, and it is a book that's about a kind of descent. You know, you go from someone who, in a sense, has promise, and then they end up in this dreadful place. And then you see what happens afterwards to them, which is, I think, what I was really, really after. I cut it back, and it was funny, really, because I wrote it and originally it was longer, and then I spent a long time making it shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And it was to get that kind of sense that you are... I wanted people to feel like they were there in it, you know, and that was about giving them that sense of madness and disorder, and that sense of I mean, you get the sense of the characters falling apart, you know, and I wanted them to feel that the character falls apart and then is kind of remade and reborn.